Hello and welcome to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network, presented by Coors Light. Go from full time to game time. Coors Light, made to chill. Make sure you find the Raptors Show wherever you listen to podcasts and subscribe. And please rate and review the show. I'm your host, Wim Lou. Joining me to recap that thrilling win between the Raptors and the Suns is my co-host, Blake Murphy. Blake, how you doing, man? Did you enjoy that one?
Yeah, that was obviously a very fun game. And, we kind of joked about it at the end of yesterday's show. Like, of course, second night of a back-to-back, all these travel issues, playing against the Suns on a 7-game win streak with plenty of rest, coming off that awful loss of that. Of course, they're going to beat the Suns. This is life as a 500 team, is there are some days you're going to look really good and some days you're going to look really bad. And I think, the Suns, when they're really locked in, can at least defend a little bit. But this Raptors team is weirdly particularly suited, I think, to shut down really high offenses, whereas they can be shut off as well. So if you run into a team like the Nets, who, they're not even that good defensively overall. They just played really well defensively that game and did do the kind of things schematically that basically make the Raptors jump shoot. And they're not particularly well equipped for that. Whereas Phoenix is a team where, well, there are spots in the offense that you can find. Their interior defense is not that strong, as we saw with Jakob Poeltl going off yesterday. Mm-hmm. And then you do have 2 or 3 big wing defenders that, look, nobody is going to stop Devin Booker and Kevin Durant night to night. But you are probably, you're, if not the best, one of the 3 best suited teams to at least make life difficult for Booker and Durant. So this is kind of where they're at as a 500-ish team. Is like there are nights like last night where they're going to look like they should win 50 games. And there's nights like the night before where it's like, man, would they win 30 if one guy got hurt? It's they're in a weird spot.
Yeah, I mean, I think I tweeted just before tip-off. I was watching like the pregame like celebrations and announcements and the fireworks and all that. And I was just like, you know what? If they win this one, all is forgiven. Yeah. And I was kind of joking about it. But yeah, I mean, it is that type of team where the Raptors do have the potential to play really well. I think the matchup was pretty good. I mean, look, the one thing I was pretty confident in was OG was going to be able to guard Devin Booker pretty effectively. This is like at least 4 or 5 times now we have seen this matchup between OG and Devin, and OG come up on top. And
Booker, by the way, not only held to just 8 points, but one of the things we like to look at when it's an OG thing, and this happened against Donovan Mitchell too, is it's not even that Booker didn't score. Booker didn't shoot the way Devin Booker had 12 field goal attempts in 33 minutes. And I know he was in and out with the ankle. Yep. He had rolled his ankle. He left in the first half as well, maybe related to the calf injury he had before. They never really updated us. Mm-hmm. But if you hold a guy who can regularly go off for 30 to 12 field goal attempts, man, even if he goes like 8 for 12, you've done your job. And he went 2 for 12 last night.
Yeah, and I think that was the story of the game, was just how good the Raptors' wings were able to guard Phoenix's like superstar wings. And I think, being in the arena pregame for that one, it kind of gives you that appreciation of like there's like levels of stars. There are certain teams that will come in, like, I don't know, this is obviously an exaggeration, but when the Pistons come into town, just thinking about the last home game I remember seeing, it was like, okay, Pistons come into town, and it's like, yeah, nobody's really in there, and people are there mostly taking photos of the Raptors, all that kind of stuff. Yesterday, so the game's at 7:30, doors open probably around 6 for fans to come into the arena, maybe a little later. And every single person that's in there, at least early, is wearing a Kevin Durant jersey or Devin Booker jersey. And there's like a variety. There's like KD jerseys from the Sonics, KD jerseys from like Texas A&M. There's like Devin Booker jerseys from Kentucky in there. Drake's in the building too. He's obviously a big fan of both
on time too.
On time early, yeah, in time to watch the celebrations. We've seen certain games where Drake walks in third quarter. I think that was the Celtics game.
Yeah.
In the in-season tournament. But
yeah, he was just like, Matt and Jack are struggling. They need me.
Yeah, honestly, he really did tap in, and the Raptors did make a good comeback. Unfortunately, they couldn't get it done against the Celtics. But there's just different tiers of stars. And obviously, everyone's just watching around, watching KD. Even all the media is on that side. It's usually the Raptors media or whoever the local media is typically looking at the Raptors, trying to talk to some of the assistant coaches and watching the players warm up. Yesterday, everybody's on the other side watching KD and Booker. And so in that kind of context with these type of players, you really do need truly special defensive ability. And I thought, both OG and Scottie should deserve so much credit for what they did defensively. What did you see from them?
Yeah, I agree with you completely. And OG is just, when it comes to these kind of high scoring two guards, he has the right combination. Obviously, like his hip work and his footwork is really, really strong. He can stay in front of guys, even though he's not the fastest guy. He fights around screens really, really well. He actually had a block on a rear view contest last night where he did lose the edge a little bit in lock and trail, and he still got the arm up to kind of get a reach around stop on it, which is like, that is like,
that was absurd.
I know. I know it was like a Dwayne Wade special for a long time, but Dwayne Wade wasn't always guarding the best player on the other team. And he was often, Dwayne Wade was a little bit of, and Fred would do this sometimes last year, where like, if you sense yourself losing a guy, let him go by so that you can then, like Fred would do it, reach in for a steal, and Dwayne Wade would do it. Okay, I want him to shoot now because I've lost the edge and I think I can block it. OG's was just like an eraser from like 12 feet out at the elbow. It was tremendous. So he's very good at that. And I think, you still probably don't want him chasing point guard, like true point guards all the time. Like we didn't really talk about, switching him off of Mitchell to Garland when Garland got going in that game, because one of Dennis Pascal or they went with Scottie in that one. Those guys can deal with that, and OG had shut off Mitchell. So I don't know that you're going to put him on like a point guard, but we've seen him do this to James Harden. We've seen him do this to Devin Booker, to Donovan Mitchell. There aren't guys, even in the Philly games, he switched between Maxey and Embiid in the one that he played. Like he has that ability to do both. And I mean, what that lets the Raptors do, first of all, is like it gives you some real matchup advantages, because you can put Dennis on whoever makes the most sense. You can do what you need to do to keep Scottie in the lower part of the floor if that's something you want to do, because you can plug OG in so many different ways. Now, yesterday, I thought Scottie just had a really good individual defensive game as well. And I know people might look at Kevin Durant's line and be like, well, he had 30 points and 6 assists. He used 34 possessions to get those 30 points. If you are holding a KD and Booker team to under a point per possession, you are like that. You got to win that game at that point, because, even if you're defending really well, KD only getting 30 on 34 used possessions is like, even with good defense, that's kind of an off night for KD. He's just that good.
It was a bit of an off night for KD, because down the stretch, the guy I was most afraid of obviously was Kevin Durant, right? Because it was like a 1-2 possession game. The Raptors were ahead, and credit to OG for making that corner three. Credit to Dennis for making that layup. By the way, Dennis Schröder joining us, scheduled for 3 p.m. today, so stay tuned. We will be asking about the layup around Yusuf Nurkic to clinch the game, and also the nutmeg assist to Kevin Durant in transition. That was beautiful. My second favorite play of the game, next to that block by OG. But down the stretch, you're worried about Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant got a couple of looks open-ish, mid-range pull-ups. There's the three that the Raptors went up 5 after Dennis's layup, and the Suns drew up a play where, KD was able to duck behind 2 screens. Precious switched out on him, but a little bit late. But really good execution by the Suns. I think that's actually pretty good defense by Precious. But KD missed that one narrowly as well. So there were a couple of chances for the Suns to ultimately take it. I mean, that's a level of skill and talent that they have. We don't need to detail that, but I think watching over the bulk of the game, the amount of like work and physicality that went into, what OG did against Booker, what Scottie did against KD, the amount of help that those guys got from Jakob Poeltl, who I thought did a great job of keeping those guys from getting downhill. Felt like most of KD shots were pull-ups instead of going to the basket. A lot of
baseline stuff, that baseline fade that is impossible to contest properly, but it's even for Durant, it's a degree of difficulty shot.
Right, and it's a concession of like, I don't want to go all the way to the basket because Yak is there. I thought Precious also did a really good job. And I think one thing that was interesting watching the coverage live was second quarter, I was noticing the Raptors started trapping a lot of those lineups. So just coming out the second quarter, it was Devin Booker, plus, I don't know, whatever assorted Suns are out there. It doesn't really matter who else is out there.
Chimezi, Me Too.
Yeah, there's like some that too. Some like Eubanks, the Raptors, you cut him obviously as part of that trade, I think last year. But yeah, the Raptors started trapping Devin Booker. And I think what was notable about that is I don't think Darko has trapped a lot of guys like that. Like we're talking hard traps. Like anytime a screen came, the 2 guys on the Raptors would be above the 3-point line, forcing Booker to get rid of the ball. And I think we saw that so much last year under Nick Nurse. We didn't see it so much under Darko so far. What did you make of that strategy?
Yeah, I liked it. First of all, I think, this is a Suns team that obviously is built to have Durant and Booker and Beal, but let's leave Beal aside because who knows how much he's going to play.
Sure, yeah.
But when you have Durant and Booker, the thinking is you always have one scoring threat on the floor, right? That either of those, we talk a lot about the Scottie and bench lineups. Either of those guys should be able to at least keep you afloat offensive. I mean, Devin Booker kept bad Suns teams afloat with lots of offense for a long time.
Just ask Darko.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So then when both of them are on the floor, you just can't do that because if you make it, like say you want to trap Booker, even if Durant is 2 passes away and you trust your ability to recover and make the right switches and rotation and stuff, it's too dangerous. Any possibility of Durant getting to play a second of 4-on-3, you're toast. It's the same with if you trap Durant and Booker's on the floor. But when only one of them are on the floor, and especially when Nurkic looked good offensively last night. He is not the defender he was pre-last injury in Portland. Yeah. I thought that was going to be a decent enough fit given how little they're asking him to do. He has not looked great defensively, but 19 points at 6 assists last night.
He had a couple rim challenges late against Pascal.
I mean, he's good at being big.
He is good at being big. That is true.
Yeah, and that's all they're going to ask him to do. Yeah. So maybe not when Nurkic is on the floor because Nurkic, again, good in DHO situations, good at passing. We saw him a couple times take that short roll pass and immediately take Yak into the post with it. Yeah. But if it's a guy like Drew Eubanks on the floor and the bad outcome of trapping Devin Booker is Drew Eubanks has a 4-on-3 with like Metu and Utah or Jordan Goodwin coming off a DHO or something like that, you're going to take your chances with that a little more often. So I don't think it's something that they're going to do a ton of. I don't think this is a signal that suddenly they're going to go back to trapping a bunch. They've done a pretty good job defensively so far. Of course, they can do better, but they're around a top 10 defense right now. So I think this is something that they'll probably be selective when an opponent has like a superstar offensive player and the pieces around him in that lineup are just not there. Like, Keita Bates, like it's funny to point to these guys and be like, those guys aren't going to punish you when like every one of the 5 bench guys that the Suns played yesterday, I would love to have as part of the Raptors bench.
Yeah, sure.
But like, and this is why like the Scottie and bench lineups have been so difficult, right? And they were actually good last night. We'll circle back to that. But it's the same logic, which is if you only have to worry about one guy on the floor and you are willing to, hey, if they 4-on-3 with the other guys, we'll live with that. That's what the Raptors are thinking here. So again, I don't think we're going to see this rolled out every time they play a superstar, no matter who's on the floor. But matchup selectively, they're a team that still has all that length that they trapped with last year. They're a team that still has all that speed and recover ability. So it should still be in the bag. Devin Booker commented on it afterwards. He got asked about OG and Scottie defensively. And he said they're big, athletic, versatile, and trap a lot. But he quickly pivoted to give credit to Darko for what the Raptors were able to do yesterday. And he said he called him underrated and then said, Darko knows what he's doing over there. I've been a fan of him since we crossed paths when he was coaching with us. He's a highly intelligent mind for the game. So Booker was
nice.
Yeah, and like maybe that's a little bit of you don't want to give the guy who turned the tap off on you too much credit, so you deflect it to the coach. But that's a superstar level offensive player tipping his hat to how Darko was able to limit his offense.
Yeah, and listen, I think so Darko was only in Phoenix for that 1 year, right?
Yeah.
Monty Williams, when he joined the Suns, he wanted to bring Darko in because I think they knew each other from OKC in Billy Donovan's staff. And in that year, Darko was in charge of the offense for Phoenix. And whatever, the 1920 Phoenix Suns are not going to be remembered too fondly. Like, they were 34-39. Couple of things that did stand out. I don't know if this is why you're laughing, but they did have the career year from Aaron Baines that led to the Raptors signing Aaron Baines. That year, Darko's offense, I would say, was able to produce 11.5 points per game from Aaron Baines, which I felt like that's what the Raptors got in about a week.
Man, I had completely forgot that Ricky Rubio played for the Suns.
Ricky Rubio was on the Suns, that team. And the Suns that year, even offensively, they were just okay. Like 12th in the league is whatever. But they were number 1 in the league in assists that year. And it really did have similar properties to sort of how the Raptors are trying to run their offense. Now, of course, they had Devin Booker. And they also had Ricky Rubio. And they also, had a couple like totally different pieces, but ultimately like that actually did help form a lot of the foundation for the Suns, who have been a really successful franchise since that point. They've also made some great trades to get, Chris Paul and Kevin Durant. We don't have to go over it. Bradley Beal, of course, but yeah, I mean, shouts to Darko, man. Big game for Darko yesterday as well. I like that move. I guess last thing, because I mean, we have to talk about this too before we pivot over to more breaking developments. In the Knicks.
I mean, we could save the
suing
Knicks stuff for the fourth segment too, if need be. But yeah, there's some more nonsense coming out there.
Yeah. But we're also gonna get a behind the scenes look with Savanna Hamilton as well in segment 2. So we'll talk more about the Suns there. But we gotta talk about Scottie.
Yeah.
What a game. I mean, we have the jersey hung up behind you. Scottie Barnes, I thought in the second half just completely took over. Fourth quarter in particular, scored 12, I believe, of the Raptors. How many points did the Raptors have in the fourth quarter?
26.
26. Yeah. So basically half their points in the fourth quarter. There was a great clip that the scorer shared where it was a play, I believe, in the third where Scottie was defending on the ball against Kevin Durant. The ball swung around. It got to, I think Utah was cutting in from the weak side. Scottie rotates over, blocks the shot. There's two guys dive for the ball. Scottie recovers the shot, pushes it all the way up the floor, generates an open shot for a teammate. The shot doesn't go up or it doesn't go in.
He grabs the board.
He grabs the board. He puts it back in. And it's the amount of energy and extra efforts you saw within probably a 30-second span. I loved his intensity last night. What did you see from Scottie Barnes?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I love that. I appreciate him seeing pregame. Look, Utah stiffed Will, and I know they talked a little bit before the game, but I've made a mental note, and if Utah comes anywhere near this rim, he's mine. He had your back. The thing that really stood out to me most is the timing of when he turned it on. I know the sequence you're talking about is from the third quarter, but the Raptors had a lead heading into the fourth, and they rolled the dice with the Scottie and bench unit. We didn't see that at all against the Nets. We didn't see it in the first half of this one. And I call that a dice roll because we have almost 100-minute sample of those combinations getting rolled this year. And as we've talked about, that's not a knock on Scottie. That's a personnel and fit issue. And like we said, the only people who can sustain those type of bench lineups, especially on not a great team, are superstar level players. And so I'm looking at it, and the Raptors are up, I think they were up 6 at that point. I'm like, man, this is so risky to go back to a unit that has rarely worked, and Booker's on the floor. Devin Booker and Eric Gordon were on the floor for the Suns, so they only had a couple bench guys in. And that was when Scottie was just bang, pull up 3 in transition. I forget what else he did in that sequence, but he had a number of big plays during that stretch. And it's, I don't know, it's just such a big, he had the one where he took it at Keita Bates-Diop as well. Precious ended up traveling, but he broke down the defense and set up Pascal there. There was just a lot. He had great defensive plays there. He set up Precious for the and one. Or he took it off a Precious screen. Anyway, I'm mixing up my quarters here. But the point is, it was a risky lineup. It was a lineup that has not done particularly well against stiff competition. And Scottie just completely rendered that lineup imbalance moot. They actually won those minutes. They lost the minutes back when Scottie came out for his usual fourth quarter breather, and they went OG plus the bench.
Come on,
for
Darko.
3 possessions, and they were a -6. But yeah, and look, that's some of that is shot making, right? Scottie knocks down the pull up 3 in transition. Scottie has the and one.
Precious hit a 3 in that stretch to put up 11.
Yeah. But he did that. He was the leader, and it was absolutely this is my unit. This is my time. We're not giving those points back right now. Put Kevin Durant back on the floor because you're not going to survive if you don't. I liked it a lot, and I mean, I also liked the tongue in cheek after the game. I don't know. I guess I got that dog in me. I guess, but yeah. I mean, we've seen this a couple times now, where fourth quarter Scottie Barnes is a thing. He does have that ability to recognize the game situation, recognize that that's needed from him, from his teammates, and really turn it on. And I don't think he's going to be able to do that every time they run a Scottie and bench unit out there, but I love the mentality that he showed during that stretch, and really that carried over to the rest of his fourth quarter, I think.
It was excellent. I think that it's funny because, we've always detailed why it's difficult. Obviously, you put any starter with 4 bench players, you're probably going to struggle. But I also think that, Scottie shows that he can single-handedly raise the level. And some of it comes down to engagement. Some of it comes down to how do you get that consistency for 4 quarters. I believe actually there was the clip from Darko Rajaković post game where he was asked a question about why can't Scottie provide what he does in the fourth quarter over the course of a full game, and this is what Darko had to say about that.
It's a 48 minutes game for sure. We would like Scottie to be on nonstop, every player, but we're constantly addressing that with him, that we need him like that in the first quarter, in the second quarter, in the third quarter. But it's just like when the game is on the line, like you have players, and Scottie is one of those guys. You just see in his eyes that he's like ultra focused and ready. He loves the moment. He's embracing the moment, and he's ready to go out there and do whatever it takes. Is that assist? Is that the offensive rebound? Is that the block a shot? He's just like doing amazing job there. Really proud of him today.
Yeah, that focus, I think, that Darko's speaking about, and the ability to make those plays. I think that's what obviously makes Scottie special. Is that, like, I remember, I think maybe you and I were on like the mismatch with KOC or something like that, and he was asking us to explain. This is like back in Scottie's rookie season. He was breaking out maybe December around that time, and you were asking us to explain the Scottie Barnes thing. We were like, I think one of my answers to him was just the way to understand Scottie is he could actually do anything on the court. It's like the consistency sometimes is not always there, but he actually has the ability to make all those plays. And that's the most impressive thing to me in the fourth quarter. He had great dimes for great baskets. He hit the three when he needed to. He hit the key free throws when he needed to.
8 for 8 at the line.
He was, excellent at rebounding the ball, going super hard at that Suns team, pushing it in transition, getting you a like a half court kind of bucket as well, and also giving you on the defensive end too. So I think, yeah, I mean, it would be great to get that for 4 quarters.
Sure.
We would have like the best player in the league.
Yeah, and if you got that for 4 quarters last night, like what he did in the fourth, he would have had like 48 points, 12 assists, and like 10 blocks. Like,
I mean, listen, that would be great. Let's get a Wilt stat line in there.
Yeah, look, I think this is the challenge of growing into a superstar, right? And some of it is skill progression and taking that to the next level. Some of it is, establishing that, hey, even if I don't have it on a certain night, I'm going to bring defense. I'm going to bring playmaking. I think Scottie, with one or two exceptions, like I thought he played pretty poorly in the Nets game.
Yeah.
But for the most part this season, he has at least established if it's not a scoring night, he's still making plays in transition. He's still having taking a big step forward defensively this year. That's part of the challenge. Mm-hmm. Part of the challenge is also, like we've talked about and like he's kind of talked about now, of like, yeah, some teams are starting to adjust to the fact that he has a jumper. And Scottie seems to kind of take it personal if they don't. And he's like, all right, I'll take it. But if they do adjust, that's more opportunity for him to drive. So now there's the next step for him is like, okay, when I get that attention, what do I do with it? And a big part of the challenge for any star player in their second year, in their third year, in their fourth year, until you're like really established as a consistent top guy, is every night you're going to see something a little different from defenses. You're going to, last night's game was physical, man. And I really appreciated that the refs established early that it was going to be a physical game. And I know there were a handful of times where, the Raptors were looking, where's the call? They let them be physical with Durant and Booker, which is going to benefit the Raptors more often than it hurts them, I think, because the Raptors have big physical defenders. So that's the kind of game the Raptors should win. But that is also a learning challenge, right? It's like, okay, tonight it's going to be, the Nets are more about gapping and manipulating space and protecting the rim. How do I adjust to that? And then the very next night, I'm seeing more physicality. I'm seeing a second body. How do I adjust to that? I'm number 1 on the scouting report. How do I adjust to that? And I don't think it's realistic yet for Scottie Barnes to do that all 82 games, for him to even do it all 38 minutes that he plays, right? I think what you're looking for is, he's established that floor, that he doesn't have bad nights. He has off nights where he impacts in different ways, but he's had maybe 2 or 3 rough games on the season. And then the next level is, if I can give you 10 good minutes in the fourth quarter, how do I extend that to, 14 of my 38 minutes were takeover? Like I had 2 takeover stretches instead of just the one, and just slowly building that up to where you're at that level every single time. I just don't think it's realistic to, really expect that from anyone over the course of 38 minutes and 82 games. But really, it's a big challenge for a young guy who, this is only the first time that he's been the guy, right? Like he's only 20 games into that.
Yeah. And I think what's good about the performance yesterday too was, I thought, start of the game, Pascal really got them going great in the first quarter. I thought Dennis and Jakob provided a lot of secondary scoring through their pick and roll work. I think Darko's starting to use them a little bit more with the bench. So I appreciate when Darko steals our
Yeah,
ideas.
which it makes sense, right? Like, hey, the bench can't score. Well, if you have Dennis Jakob as you can build a bench level offense around one really good pick and roll combination.
Yeah, exactly. And then you had Scottie taking it home, and of course OG was just kind of solid throughout. Like you need a team to win. You needed a team to get that result last night, which was great. Before we break, though, some more developments in this ongoing lawsuit where the Knicks are suing the Raptors. This is a great piece by Baxter Holmes. Hopefully we can get him on the show maybe next week to discuss about the details of the case and sort of like, I think what's difficult for a lot of people to process in this case is like, how much of this is the Knicks being petty and how much of this is like maybe the Raptors actually did something wrong. And it's hard to know that without talking to enough people around the league who can offer their direct insight into what the significance of this case is. And I think that's what Baxter did in this recent story, where the headline is excellent, by the way, up on ESPN. Quote, "This isn't the 11 herbs and spices inside the unprecedented Knicks Raptors lawsuit." But like, you were able to read this story. What's the new details?
Yeah, I was able to dust off, my old LSAT score and sit down with that. And
no, I need you at that.
Look, basically, I mean, the high level takeaway is that the Raptors and people around the league think this is silly enough that the Raptors might just send Garrett Temple and be like, "Here you go, you're first chair in the defense in this one. Get your reps in." But it basically comes down to this: the key crux of the argument in court. And Baxter talked to not only Eastern and Western Conference executives off the record. He went through all the legal filings. He also talked to a couple of a sports law professor, someone in the legal, like the practicing side of the legal industry. So he got a lot of people chipping in their opinions on here. And the crux of what the Knicks are going to have to prove and what the Raptors are going to have to argue against is, was this information confidential? And the Knicks are saying, yes, of course it was. The Raptors are saying, no, of course it wasn't. Mm-hmm. And then the legal experts that Baxter has talked to, at least, are saying basically, well, one, Azatam is alleged to have done this while still using his active Knicks login.
Okay.
So if you still have an active login, maybe this is on the Knicks to just like you obviously weren't protecting that information. But the more important thing is something like a scouting report actually, like, can you claim ownership of that? Mm-hmm. Because Azatam could have just as well watched the film himself, put it in a email to himself, and like, that's not, you don't have ownership over that. It just happens to be that it's on a program. Now, a lot of the people that Baxter spoke to have said the same things as us, which is that if this is really just synergy, like, everyone has synergy. And there's a great paraphrasing of the Raptors' response. So this worked out. The Knicks, this is the other wrinkle, is the Knicks sent the Raptors a letter on a Monday in August. The Raptors had 4 days to respond. They basically responded immediately, and it was only 6 sentences, allegedly, their response to this memo. And in part of it, it said that the Raptors have no interest in any information that the Knicks described. There are some other weird things that, like, the Knicks sent this memo to the Raptors, and then the Raptors responded. But by the next business day, the Knicks had filed the lawsuit. So clearly they were already expecting to file the lawsuit. But also they went from asking for $5 million to then arguing that, well, the NBA can't navigate this because $10 million is the maximum fine in the NBA, and we think this is worth $10 million. In the initial memo to the Raptors, they didn't accuse Darko and other people of asking Azatam to do this. Mm-hmm. They added that at the last minute to their legal filing. And according to Baxter, the defendants on the Raptors side didn't even find out that they were named as defendants in this until it hit the media. So the Knicks are doing a bunch of Knicks stuff here. I think the main thing to take away, and this is a quote from a sports law professor at Seton Hall, I don't really see a clear strategy. I think the attention is the desired outcome. Okay. There are people on the Eastern Conference and Western Conference side who agree, say, nobody is taking this lawsuit seriously. It's a middle finger from Dolan to Larry Tannenbaum.
Yeah. If the attention is what the stated goal is, and I guess we are falling for this trap. So
all the attention is just like negative about the Knicks and James Dolan.
Well, that's the funniest thing because, Baxter Holmes in his story detailed a lot of the history between Masai and James Dolan. And I got to say, it's pretty one-sided history. It goes back to the Carmelo trade, which was back when Masai took over in Denver. New GM at that time has to deal with Carmelo wanting out, ends up fleecing the Knicks, who ultimately never really reached their potential with Melo, especially because they had no supporting cast because they traded all those pieces for an expiring Melo, by the way, that year. Then fast forward to 2013, the Knicks are coming off a winning season, but the Nets, they just traded for KG and Paul Pierce. So Masai gives them a call. It's like, hey, maybe you guys want to get, a stretch center, someone compared to Dirk, a 7-footer, somebody who can, what can Barks do? Hit some threes and make some questionable defensive decisions?
Yeah, do you want Luke Cornett 1.0?
Well, he's not even going to jump for the Cornett contest. But then James Dolan ultimately agreeing to trade for Andrea Bernardi, who turned out to be a lemon for them as well. Then you had
turned out to be a lemon. The Raptors were like, "You want to trade for this lemon?" And then the Knicks were like, why is this lemon sour?"
Yeah, they must have not seen the 5, 6, 7 years of Andrea in Toronto. And then obviously the trade for Kyle Lowry that really would have changed the trajectory of both franchises because the Knicks really badly needed a point guard. But Dolan reportedly turned down that trade and said no because of the fact that he was already sensitive at that time to getting fleeced by Masai. And so he said no.
Meanwhile, he's trying to get Masai.
And that's the thing I forgot about. When Masai was in contract negotiations last time around, this is like 2020 after the championship, and, there's all the discussions of, are the Raptors going to extend him? Obviously, they did extend him. But during that time, there was like, maybe Washington jumped in. Apparently, the Knicks jumped in, and the Knicks were very interested in Masai. So, I don't know. It's really one side of history is what I'm trying to say. So, when you bring more attention to one side of history, it is what it is. I mean,
yeah, I think the takeaway here is that, that James Dolan is hilarious. This is all like, hey, the memo we sent the Raptors threatening them and asking for all these things was way different than what we actually filed in court. We're saying one thing to the courts, one thing to the NBA. We're clearly doing this out of spite, whether it's Masai or Larry Tannenbaum or Adam Silver, whatever. There have been a number of things that's like, sure, this is a spite lawsuit. It's pretty ridiculous. And, the Raptors have to file again December 11th. They have to respond to the latest Knicks motion. I wonder if, there doesn't seem to be any chance of settling this. The Knicks are too far dug in at this point. No. I'm kind of hoping this actually does go to court now, and so we can get a judge's ruling on just how silly this is.
Yeah. Well, again, if it doesn't actually ultimately land on Adam Silver's desk, then this whole thing is all just monetary.
Yeah.
And if some rich people have to give some money to some other rich people, it doesn't really matter. If it was draft picks, I would be concerned.
And I really do think that is the smoking gun of this is a personal and attention thing, not a basketball thing. Because if it was a basketball thing, you would want the picks.
Exactly.
You would want, when there was a hacking scandal in Major League Baseball between the Cardinals and the Astros, and it cost them $2 million in fines. And they were also, I don't think they sent the picks the other way, but they were docked a bunch of picks. Even then, the Knicks could be like, well, that's a win for us. They're in our division.
Yeah.
Takes picks away from a division rival and a team we don't like. If this was about the actual basketball side, they would have kept this in-house so they could try to get draft restitution for it. It's all, I don't know. Look, the other thing is, Raptors, if you need, call me as a witness. I'll walk everyone in the courtroom through what you can do in Synergy. I still have Synergy, don't listen to this. I'm not supposed to have a login still, and I can still be in there getting. I will walk the court through how even someone in my position can get all the stuff the Raptors are alleged to have stolen from the Knicks kitchen, the 11 pick and rolls, as it were.
The 11 dribbles and step back jumper of Julius Randle, which we will see on Friday. But we are going to take a break.
What do we want to go? The 4 for 11 spices.
Ooh. 4 is good. 4 is a good percentage for him. We're going to take that break. I've been your host, Willow. You've been listening to The Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Welcome back to The Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. I'm your host, Wim Lou. Continue to be joined by Blake Murphy, and we are joined by Savanna Hamilton, who I had the great pleasure of watching the Raptors defeating the Suns with in the booth last night. Savanna, how you doing? Are your eardrums okay after all the complaining I did to the officiating?
remember what I said. I was like, you offered me the patty that you had. And I said, listen, this is going to just compensate for tomorrow's guest appearance on the Raptors show. So my eardrums will survive because of that.
Yeah, that is how we pay our guests. If we do end up paying our guests, is a patty. So, Dennis Schroeder, when you come up after this next break, you know that Dennis also received a patty from the game. Honestly, this is the thing that is inside media. Maybe this is something for fans who want to go to the game. The way to get food before the game is just to go in the concourse of Union Station. Do not eat it inside the building, guys.
But they can't leave like we can.
You're right. We can actually walk out, get the food, and then come back in. But that's
because basically
we
what
have
you're
special
saying is
privileges.
eat before you come. It doesn't really matter where you eat.
Exactly. That's the whole point. We got to be there like 3 hours before the game, so that's different.
By the way, one last inside basketball media thing, Sav. So when we went to the full shot of you, it showed Alex's book, and he's sitting here with like pancake in his mouth, but did the like Leo meme of pointing at it. So great placement there. How are you doing, by the way? Because you would have been delayed by this flight that the Raptors were delayed. You travel with the team when you're on the road. What happened there? How was that? How tired are you right now?
Yeah, I won't lie. It was a tiring night. We are surviving though. I have lots of coffee. So it was actually very impressive. I was like just extra impressed with how the Raptors came out and performed. Because, getting back pretty much to your place at 5 a.m. and then turning around and playing an NBA game is definitely not easy. It wasn't easy for me as media to get myself up to be engaged. So I can only imagine like what they were feeling. But sometimes, I don't know, there has to be some sort of like psychology behind playing better when you're tired or something, because maybe you intentionally lock in just a little bit more, knowing that you're overcoming something else too. So anyways, I'm not a doctor, so I can't speak to that. But it's very interesting that
you did play
pretty well.
Like I wonder, like what was your experience with that? Like, I mean, U Sports, you're probably on the buses and stuff like that instead of
I don't know if they chartered the whole plane. That's what happened in this case.
Yeah, I mean, I ask you not only because you were on it, but you do have the experience of like playing in different situations. It's different if Will and Alex show up tired for a pickup run versus what you have experienced if you show up tired in exam season for a game or something.
Oh yeah. Like, I mean, having to rack my brain and go back there. Yeah, it was a grind, especially for women's basketball. Like we had 6 a.m. practices or like 7 a.m. hill runs. And then we had to play a tournament over the weekend, but you're right. It was like midterm. So the balancing act is always tricky, but I feel like you just have to like literally like bunker down and just focus on literally the moment that's right in front of you. Because if you think too far ahead, you're like, I can't do this.
Yeah, it does remind me of those memes that went around because when you watch the Zion Williamson highlight tapes coming up in high school, they were all nuts. But then someone will point out and be like, "There's a grade 9 kid in there that just came from biology class, and now he's got to guard Zion Williamson." So, being a student athlete must have been insane. I wouldn't know. I was barely even a student, let alone an athlete. So let's get to yesterday's game. A great performance. So Scottie was obviously the talk of the game. He was awesome. Post game, Scottie gave the nice little quote of, I guess I got that dog in me. Well, two things. Number one, Savanna, what are you seeing new from Scottie this season in terms of him making this jump? And also, I'm curious from the media perspective, how has Scottie sort of evolved in that sense as well?
Yeah, I think the word is just intentional. I feel like this is something that we kind of talked about before. And I know, Will, we've talked about this even just at the games and stuff. Just he's very deliberate with everything he's doing. I think, he was a ball of energy in his first season. Like he played with joy, as Darko would call it. Second season, we saw that sophomore slump happen, but he was still like, he had some inconsistencies, but he had moments of like, he's still Scottie. And this season has just been a lot more, that's just Scottie. Mm-hmm. Like there's been less inconsistencies. There's been less games where you're like, oh, that was a bad game from him. Like, no, even on his bad games, he's still doing intangible things. Defensively, especially, he prides himself on defense. That's something that actually I was talking to OG Anunoby about. I asked him how many conversations he has with Scottie in terms of like defense and how he's been growing in that sense. And OG was like, yeah, like we talk about like defense all the time. He picks my brain on certain things, but honestly, it's just Scottie. Like that's what OG said. It's just him. Like he has that natural athletic ability, and he has the willingness to also want to defend. And I think we're seeing that also translate on the offensive end. He was very intentional with increasing his 3-point shooting percentage this year. And even the types of 3-point shots that you try to, like you see him take, they're good looks. He's not forcing anything. And so I think that's what I'm seeing from Scottie this year that was different than last year. Not that he forced things like a lot last year, but he's just being a lot more deliberate and knowing that he is, you know, oftentimes still an option one, maybe an option two, but they're looking for him now. Like that's intentional. They want to have the ball in his hands, taking that shot. So I think it's a mixture of this offense and as well as Scottie knows his expectations and is executing.
Yeah, looking for him and looking to him. There were stretches in that game where, you know, implicitly with the lineups or with how the flow was going, it's like, hey, Scottie, we need you right now. So not only looking for him, but looking to him to kind of carry them. And Sav, I saw some stuff after the game yesterday. And like everyone was obviously very happy with Scottie Barnes' performance, but there were, and Darko got asked about that. There was a little bit of, well, like, why can't he do that all game? And, you know, I said earlier, I don't think it's realistic to play at that level all game. You'd have like 50, 20, 10 as a stat line. But what is the challenge like for him now, trying to expand that at least into more parts of the game instead of having to take over fourth quarter? You know, maybe that's, you have a stretch in the first half, you have a stretch in the second half like that, and there's a bigger imprint on the whole game. Obviously, that's a challenge for any young player, but how does that challenge, you know, apply to Scottie over the rest of the season, do you think?
Well, I think that's what's the next level of separation between Scottie and Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum knows that he has to play like that the entire game for the Boston Celtics to be where they are at right now. Scottie, and I'm not saying that, you know, not making excuses, but he is still young in his overall NBA career. Jason Tatum has a lot more years than Scottie does in the league. So I think Scottie's still finding the moments in the game. He knows that fourth quarter is crucial. Fourth quarter, you're winning or you're not. So he knows that it's up to him to score, to be that guy to like put the team on his back and carry it all the way through. But when you're in the first quarter, you know, you might be playing a little bit more nice, but more conservative. You might be like, okay, let's just pass the ball. Let's facilitate. Because don't forget, he's a passing guard as well. Like he's great at his passes. So he's not a, you know, what they would call a greedy player or nothing. So I think he tries to balance that in his own mind from purely observation between where do I insert myself and where do I make a play for my teammates, because he calls himself a point forward. So that's that balance coming out right there. But fourth quarter time, it's crunch time. It's like, it's now or never. He's like, forget this. I'm going to put the team on my back. So I think that's the balance that we're seeing right now. But really what we need to see more of is him having that fourth quarter mentality from the jump, from the first quarter, so that they don't get into situations where it is a tight game down the stretch. Let's see that in moments in the second quarter, in the third quarter. Let's put teams away early. And I think that's the balancing act, as well as you know, the experience level that he needs to get to recognize those situations of when he needs to be that guy versus when he needs to be more of a facilitator to get everybody involved. Because when everyone's involved, everyone's happy. You know, you have double-digit scoring nights from like 6 guys on the team. Like, it's not a whole lot of complaining happening after that. So, but that's a read. That's a read that he has to make.
Yeah. So that naturally goes in that conversation of who do you put with him? And I thought, you know, Darko's really been searching the last couple of games. He's tried a couple of different pieces. We've seen McDaniels come into the group now again after he gave him the first shot to start the season. I think what's interesting is he doesn't really tend to choose Chris, and I feel like Chris has done really well. Like even the Brooklyn game, right? Like Precious came in, just made a bunch of mistakes, and he was like, you know what? I got to put Chris in the game. And Chris comes in and is really solid. The day after, I thought, okay, well, Chris is going to get his reward here. He's going to get in that rotation. He only gets 3 minutes last night. So not even trying to create controversy, but I just think that, like, yeah, I mean, where is that right balance in terms of the minutes and the mix around a guy like Scottie who is asked to carry a lot of these bench groups?
That's a great question, Will. I think,
that's why rotation. I know your real answer here. It's all good.
I think rotations is something that Darko is still playing around with a little bit. I think he has more consistency in his mind of the direction I'm not going to put words in his mouth. I'm not going to speak for him as to what exactly that is or what exactly that looks like. I am in the same train of thought as you, Will, to be quite honest. Like, I thought that Chris had a great game against Brooklyn, despite the fact that he only played, and correct me if I'm wrong, I know he played in the second quarter. He had like 8 points in 4 minutes at one point in that game, coming off the bench. And then he played a stretch in the fourth quarter. Is that correct?
Yes.
Early in the fourth. Yeah. So it's like, I'm like, that's hard to do if you're a player, like, and it's kind of like what Malachi kind of had to deal with a little bit like last year, not knowing when your minutes are coming or when they're not coming. If there's a level of consistency of knowing when you're going to play or when you're not going to play, you can almost mentally prepare for that. So I almost give him a little extra credit in seeing that, like, there's some games where he has a DNP. There's other games where he's like, has a good stretch of minutes or something. But yeah, I can't speak on exactly how the rotations are shaping out. I thought Precious had a good game last night. I think it was a game that we needed to see from him. And so it's tough when you have the balance of, a veteran player versus young guys who you are trying to develop and are trying to give reps and increase their confidence so that they could become, really strong assets for you going on in the future. So it's for Darko, like, that's a balancing act, and you got to choose a direction for sure. And I think he's shaping it out.
Sav, you mentioned Precious had a really nice bounce back game coming off of maybe his worst, not maybe, it was his worst game of the season against the Nets. 10 pretty bad minutes, got the early hook.
I told people to watch hockey when he
yeah.
that was bad.
How do you, and maybe this isn't a Raptors and coaching staff and deployment thing, maybe this is just on Precious, but this is year 4. What is the path or what is the necessary change to get Precious playing with a little bit more consistency at this point?
It's the $1 million question. We asked Devlin the same thing last week.
I asked him that, Blake.
What, did he read his stat line back out to you?
Was he like
4
yeah,
assists,
that was
3 blocks?
That was pretty much that stat line one. Yeah, exactly.
Was he being sassy in that answer?
And also, just for context with that one, he was joking. Because I'll say this for anybody who watched that back, it was actually a joke because him and I were joking before the cameras got turned on about, like, he loves ice baths. I hate ice baths when I was an athlete. And so we're just kind of like joking about that situation. And then it just got translated to camera with the stat line thing. And I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. No one's going to get the context. But anyways, so yeah, it's fine. So yeah, with him though, when it comes to like, that whole level of consistency, what we want to see from him, because you're right, Blake, he is in year 4. I don't think like the way that he was handled in Miami was maybe not necessarily fair to him. The fact that he wasn't even allowed to shoot a single 3-point shot. And then he gets traded to Toronto, and, we're not sure what we have in him, and we see glimpses of stuff, but then once again, there's a little level of inconsistency in minutes. So we're not sure, what his role is. And he's also very much a hybrid player. And he talks a lot about wanting to be a strong defender. But then sometimes we see lapses. And that's just, once again, that's almost like the youth and inexperience coming out when I see him like that. But then there's glimpses on offense where he's really strong, and you can almost see him, like, the potential to take over a game. Like, wow, this guy, like, the ceiling could potentially be really, really high with him. I know, having talked to him though, like, he said that he works overall on his game. Like, he said that, like, he was the type of guy that would just go to the playground and not necessarily, because I asked him, do you hone in on something? And, like, what do you want to develop next? And he's like, no, just overall game in general. I know that Darko mentioned he wants to see him being more aggressive on offense, driving to the rim, kind of carving that side of his game out a little bit more, being a slasher. And so I think that's also what he kind of leans to naturally. Whenever we see a lot of, like, a Precious highlight, he's slashing to the rim, he's getting up, like, he's dunking the ball. Like, I think play into that, develop that, become almost like an expert in that. And then let's talk about other aspects of what we could see from him. But I think right now it's almost like I feel like he's almost caught up in a mix of, like, jack of all trades type of thing. And it's not bad, but you want to specialize in something.
Got you. Sav, this was great. I mean, if all it took was one patty to get you on the show, I will be making that $2 investment at a Union Station near you.
So does Dennis get 2 patties?
It's as many as he wants.
He gets a lot of patties. Let's just say that. But we're going to cut away. Thank you, Savanna. Appreciate you. And we're going to take another break here. Been your host, Will Luke. You've been listening to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. When we come back, Dennis Schröder, weekly appearance. Can't wait to ask him about, the tough celebration or whatever. Welcome back to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. I'm your host, Wim Lou. Continue to be joined by co-host Blake Murphy. We are waiting anxiously for Dennis Schröder to join us on the line.
While we wait, did you see the graphic that I tweeted out yesterday of the history Dennis joined?
No. Wait, hold on. Let me hear it.
Yeah, Dennis Schröder had 12 assists and 0 turnovers yesterday. He has 21 and 0 over his last 2 games. But I looked up how many times has 12 assists, 0 turnovers happened in Raptors history. Yeah. It turns out a lot.
We did have Jose Calderon.
Jose Calderon Jose Calderon did it 8 times. But here are the other names who have done it.
Yeah.
Damon Stoudemire. Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
Alvin Williams.
All right.
Scottie Barnes had one at the end of last year.
Nice.
Okay. Fred VanVleet. And Charles Oakley.
No. Wow.
On Remembrance Day 2000. Yeah. Charles Oakley was like, here's a stat line none of you will remember. I had 12 assists. Good 0 turnovers.
Good for Oak, man. I feel like we've been really blessed with great point guards in our franchise history. When you go back through that list, I'm like, you know what? I'm actually really happy with having watched the majority of those. Obviously, I came in a little later, past the Oakley phase, but
yeah, I mean, you know how I feel about Jose Calderon. He's like my all-time favorite Raptor until they got good.
Yeah, my other favorite was the other half of that pick and roll combo was Amir Johnson for me. Loved Amir. So preparing for this Dennis interview, so he puts out his vlog each week, and it also feels funny when we're like, go watch Dennis's vlog because Dennis has plenty of viewers on this vlog. It's like us plugging go listen to Taylor Swift or something. But I was watching the vlog last week, and you and I appeared in the vlog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not appeared physically.
No, but we were in our interview with him last week. I think it was also on a Thursday. We were in his vlog, which was really quite nice to see. It's also just great detail to get into his life. Apparently, he wants to go to the aquarium with his family today. Here's my scoop.
Yeah.
Dennis, please call us so we don't have to talk about this.
Well, don't put it out there because people are going to show up.
No, it's in the vlog. It's what it is.
I know. The aquarium's great.
The aquarium is great.
It is
Dennis, please call us.
He has kids, man.
Yeah, you're right.
It's gonna be fun for him. My nephew's almost 3. That's the first thing I'm doing when he's I don't know. Can you throw a 3-year-old on the bus to Toronto? That's too young, right?
That's a little too young.
Okay.
By themselves, yeah, it's a little too young. What's the youngest you've been when your parents left you at home or made you take the bus alone?
I was 8 or 9 and I flew to Newfoundland by myself.
Oh, but
my parent. This was when security was a little more lax and my parents could walk me to the gate. But I was on the plane by myself, and I don't know. The flight attendants just take really nice care of you, and yeah. So that I guess.
Are you?
Alex is choking.
Alex is choking, man. He's like, you guys are choking on the show. That's why he's choking. Dennis, please call us. On that subject. So I remember the first time I went on a plane alone. My parents sent me on a plane to China to see my grandparents after we had immigrated to Toronto. And it was a 16-hour flight. And obviously it was I was I don't know, 9, 10 years old. It's a very teary goodbye. And as soon as I got on the plane, though, I was like, yo, this is every child's dream. You can have unlimited chips and pop, and you're just watching Rush Hour the whole way through. It was awesome. And
did you just watch it 5 times?
I'm not even kidding. I did not sleep for the whole 16-hour flight back to Beijing. But anyway, thankfully, Dennis Schröder is joining us on the line, so we have to stop filling time with our mundane stories about life. Dennis, big win last night. I feel like you're timing all these wins in time for these appearances, man, because we always got great things to ask you.
Yeah, I was thinking about the same thing. Every time when I joined the show, we, get a W, a big one against a good team.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we got that one.
Yeah. You say that as if you didn't have the game-clinching bucket at the end.
I played terrible, though, before. Didn't make a shot. I mean, of course, Pascal Siakam, OG, Scottie, they did a great job of, Jakob Poeltl the people off the bench. Precious did a great job. GT, everybody, you know, contributed, I think, for this win, to this win, and that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but here's the thing: you're on the show right now, and so we got to ask you to take us through that final play because it was, for people who don't remember, it was, I think, 108 to 105 for Toronto. You guys had the ball, but there was enough time for Phoenix to get the ball back. So you guys need to score because obviously KD and Booker on the other side, and you ended up getting the layup around Yusuf Nurkic. I believe you had the ball the whole possession. Just take us through what happened on that play.
Yeah, coach wanted angle 5. I mean, just a pick and roll with me and Yak, I think. He set a good screen. You know, I raised the big Nurkic, and they switched. And I wanted to pass it out to Pascal Siakam, but he had no really mismatch on him. So, you know, I was just confident in myself playing against the big Yusuf Nurkic. You know, I seen him a couple of times in the national team as well. And I mean, I just, you know, took him one-on-one, and gladly I made the bucket.
So, Dennis, you have Nurkic in that situation and you drive, and that was the play where you kind of did the little Steve Nash move where you bring the big out with you out the other side of the lane. When you're doing that, you know, sometimes we'll see a point guard make a pass out of that. Sometimes the like quick stop and try to just like use the rim as protection from the big. What are you looking for in the big when you're going through that move? Like, what is your signal that like, hey, I've got to pass here, I should shoot here, or nah, I should bring them out and one-on-one against him?
Yeah, I mean, in the first half, I had a similar play, and you know, I didn't even hit the rim, so I was like, okay, let me just, you know, be patient and dribble it out and see if we got like a mismatch. And I seen Yusuf Nurkic, you know, kept going with me, and was a one-on-one play mismatch, and I was comfortable, you know, playing against him, and you know, just took it out, took my time, was patient, and yeah, scored.
Yeah. Another big play. I mean, I know you said you struggled, but I would say one of my favorite plays of last night was I think Yak got a block in the third quarter. You guys got out on the break. You had the ball, and you threw a nutmeg bounce pass between KD's legs to Pascal for the breakaway. Take us through that. Did you intend to, like, was that your, like, you were thinking in your mind, like, yeah, the only way to get this pass through is to nutmeg KD?
Of course. I mean, it was a hell of a play by Yak, you know, getting that rejection. I got the rebound, you know, just running out. You want to play with pace. And I mean, I seen, you know, I think it was Okoji and, you know, Kevin Durant running back. And I was like, okay, if I pass it, you know, just down below, it might be a kick ball or goes through. And that was my thought process, you know, on that play. And after the game, I seen on my Instagram, you know, people tagged me and it went through his legs. I didn't even see it at first.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it was a big time play.
Yeah, that was really nice. So Blake had the stat here for you. So go ahead.
Yeah, so you had 12 assists and 0 turnovers yesterday. You have 21 assists and 0 turnovers over the last 2 games. I know you were a little critical of yourself there with, you know, the shooting percentage last night and maybe the last 2 games. But when you see a stat like that, if you look at the box score after the game, you see such a big assist total and 0 turnovers. You know, how much does that weigh into how you're evaluating your own game? Because that's a pretty rare thing to be setting teammates up that much without coughing up the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I just try to be, you know, star in my role, you know, try to like find my teammates. We got so much talent in that, you know, locker room. I think I got to set the tone of, you know, leading the team, making sure everybody get in the right spots, getting the right shots we want to take. And I think when we play defense and, you know, go out and run and transition, I think it's really, really hard to stop us. And we showed it, you know, in different type of games, sometimes not for 48 minutes, but I mean, we showed that we can, you know, stick with like good teams. And I think that's what our identity is about, and how we got to play as a unit. And of course, I mean, it's a great stat line, but at the end of the day, I just try to make the right play. You know, I just try to make it simple for our team and I don't want to force anything. I'm a basketball player who, loves to play the game the right way, and don't want to force anything. Of course, I'm gonna be aggressive still, but the last couple of games, I didn't, shoot it well, but I know that I can, impact the game a different way if it's defense, or facilitating, and just impact winning. And that's what I've been, doing my whole career, and try to get better at it.
Yeah. Dennis, I think one thing that's interesting is it feels like the Raptors this year, you guys have really stepped up against like better teams. Like anytime we're like on the show, we're like asked about before the game, like, can the Raptors beat the Suns? They got KD over there, they got Devin Booker over there. They're coming off a back-to-back. The plane landed at 4 a.m. after you guys had to get a different plane to come home. They've been just chilling, and they won 7 in a row. And it's those exact type of games. I think it was earlier this season too. Raptors lost 3 straight, and then Milwaukee's coming to town. It's Giannis and Dame. What can you guys do? You guys seem to play better in those kind of games. Why do you think that is?
I don't know, but that's we can't keep doing this during this season. I think it's still early in the season, but we got to make sure that we come out the right way every single game, not just against the the good teams. And I think it's coming along together really nicely. I think everybody kind of believing in their system, try to get to know coach, get to know the players. And I think, how we moving the ball, we get 25 plus assists every single game. Don't want to jinx myself or us, but it's been great how we moving the ball. And I think if we keep doing that and we believe in that system, what coach brings, we're going to be even better. And we got to do it for 48 minutes, and we got to do it as a team. Scottie Barnes, Pascal, OG, me, everybody in that locker room. We got to make sure that, we bring it on the defensive end first, and then share the ball on the offensive end. And it starts with me as a point guard, setting up my teammates, of course. And, it takes the star players as well.
So obviously you mentioned, the defensive side is a team first thing, but something that stands out to me when you beat these good teams or play well against them is that you guys have OG, right? And OG is pretty good if you put him on Donovan Mitchell or Devin Booker or something like that. How, now that you've played next to OG for 18, 19 games here, how well does he stack up with other elite defenders that you've played with in your career?
OG is so quiet, but he is elite. I think one of the best defenders I've seen in this league, and as a teammate. He's just always in the right spots, making it tough for Luka Doncic, Tally's Halliburton in Indiana, Donovan Mitchell. We didn't win that game, but he made it hell for all these guys, all the superstars in this league. KD and Book last night, and I told him that's elite. And I feel like we got to win games, and we got to put him on the map for Defensive Player of the Year, But in that case, we gotta win games, and we gotta make sure we get on the map for him, to even have that case to go out there and say, "Oh, listen, we're winning games. He's locking up the best players in the league." And we're winning games, and offensively, he brings so much. His shooting, his ability to cut, playing unselfish in transition, sharing the ball. So, like I said, it's coming well together. And for him, I told him that beginning of the season, he's got to go for Defensive Player of the Year. But, for that to happen, I think we got to win games, and we got to, be together as a team and win games. I think that's what the league is about, and it's going to showcase, even more how elite of a defender he is.
Yeah, it's funny because I think most defenders, they're really loud. They get in your face, like a Patrick Beverley type. Marcus Smart gets into your face. Draymond Green will let you hear about it, but OG's very, very quiet, very reserved. He just quietly shuts you down. I appreciate that approach.
Yeah.
It's different. Yeah,
he just get it done.
He
just get it done.
What didn't get it done was the plane. That's the team plane. So can you take us through what happened? Because all we heard was that before the game, and I'm already thinking again, KD and Booker on the other side. I'm worried about this game, and then I hear about how, oh man, we didn't get in until like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. What happened? Because you guys had to get a different plane to come out of Brooklyn to back home.
Yeah, I mean, after the game, it was like, yo, you want to get out in 45 minutes? Everybody just shower, and get ready.
Oh, I know they're telling you to hurry up. That's for sure.
Yeah, they told me that. I was like, okay, I'm ready because it's a back-to-back.
Okay,
We're playing
gotcha.
Phoenix, and I was like, okay. And then we showered, and then he said, oh, no, guys, never mind. Take your time. We got to like 11:30 or something. That was like an hour late. And he was like, oh, okay. And he said, yeah, we can't fly with our plane. We got to, get a new plane, whatever. I didn't know exactly what happened with our plane, but was complications, of course. And it kept being later than the 11:30 turns into 12, then 12:30, then 1, and 1:15. Everybody's like, wow, like, we should stay here and then fly in the morning. That's what we're thinking at that point, and
sure.
but then, I mean, we got it done. I think, landed at like 4:15. I was at home at like 4:45 and 8, and I mean, my kids, of course, wifey got up to say hi, but then we went to sleep, and I woke up at like 2 p.m.
Oh, okay.
Had brunch, and I mean, maybe we gotta always do that when we have that type of energy and have 44 deflections in a game on the defensive side. And I mean, but we didn't make no excuses. Coach said that too. Don't make excuses. Just go out there, compete on the highest level, and get a W. And that's what we did.
I feel like this is even harder for coaches because a guy like Darko, he might have just had like 10 coffees and just stayed up overnight. Like you know how much Darko loves those coffees.
What are you guys doing during all that time? The flight keeps getting delayed half an hour, 45 minutes, another 15 minutes. What are you guys doing during that time?
Play buoy.
Yeah.
So it was a profitable plane delay for you.
It was perfect. It was perfect.
Yo, Dennis, hold on.
It was perfect.
Like how? Okay, since you came in the league, like it feels like Bure has just been like the go-to card game for NBA players, right? Do you know the history behind that? Like, where did that come from, and like why Bure in particular?
Chauncey Billups, that's our OG. He was like the first guy to ever, kind of play this game. And I mean, I started when I got to OKC with Russell Westbrook, PG, Raymond Felton, and there was like that kind of Bure group. And I used to play poker, Texas Hold'em.
Yeah.
It's like a, patient game. You gotta, like bluff, weeds, make weeds. And after that, when I got to OKC and I, get to know Bure, I never stopped after that. That's like my, I don't know how to say it, but I love this game. I can play that 8 hours straight. And I mean, it brings us together as well. As a team, we got 5, 6 players, kind of joking about, like the game or what can we do better in the game, playing cards, while doing it. And it's always great for team chemistry. And so, I love it. And I mean, my teammates starting to love it like I do. And we're gonna for sure keep it going.
So first off, who's in the game right now on the Raptors, and who is the worst player so far? If you had to pick one.
Yeah. I mean, it's myself, it's Malachi, it's Garrett Temple, Thaddeus Young, and Chris Boucher.
Okay.
So, and Yak is always on the outside, just looking in, when like
just bring him in, man. Come on, Yak.
Yeah, I told him, come on, man. This you might as well just join. Yeah. And Otto Porter, sometimes doing the same thing. But the worst player, it's always tough. I mean, it's kind of luck.
It's a bit luck, yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, you still got to know how to play. And I know I'm not the worst. I can say that much. But to put a name out here would be wrong.
Yeah, it's okay, man. We know it's Malachi.
We're gonna play this on the show one day so we could teach everyone how to play. Me, Will, and Alex are gonna play.
Need it.
Yeah,
no, we actually need it. It's like
I'll take $20 off you.
Okay, all right, buddy. We'll see. What else? What else I had here? Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is something that people always ask about. But like, how do the players on the Raptors like hang out? Like, are there cliques? Are there like these guys always hang out with each other? These guys always hang out with each other, like, or is it sort of like a mix? Because people always want to know the behind the scenes dynamic of the group.
Yeah, I mean the 5 people I just mentioned. I mean that's like the car group. Of course, I mean all the other guys been here long enough. They always grab dinner and be together. But I want to make a little bit more of a team thing when we get to a different city. That we grab dinner.
Yeah.
We grab dinner with Cleveland with the whole organization, but I want to make it like a routine, I don't want to take people's time, but I think it's always great to have the team chemistry and enjoy togetherness, and just being together and that we, go in a different city, just grab dinner, coach paying for it. So it's free food.
Oh, word?
And then go back to the hotel, get rest, and I think it's always great just to be around each other and don't take the time for granted that we play in the best league in the world. And, yeah, I mean, I think that's the big part of what we did with the national team as well. And I want to, bring that here as well.
Hey, go ahead.
I wanted to ask about the national team because I saw you got your ring. You got that FIBA World Cup ring. Man, what was your impression of it? Can we see it? Do you have it handy for us?
Hold on.
Oh, it's within reach?
Oh,
it's right here, man.
Yo, it wasn't even planned. Damn.
Okay, so a 23 in diamonds for 2023. What do we got? It looks like
world champion.
Yeah.
What about your MVP, bro? What about MVP?
Oh, that's on now. I got that too.
Oh, my
17
goodness.
right here.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yo, Dennis, here's the thing. Yeah, there we go. MVP on the side. So I remember it was Friday night after you guys beat the Bulls. The in-season black court was on the court, and I came downstairs, and I saw a guy waiting with like 2 gigantic chains on. Like 2 just absolutely gigantic chains. And I was like, who is this dude? I never seen this guy in the arena before. I don't think he's like friends and family maybe. And then I see him walk over to you and hand you what you have in your hand there. So tell us like who made the ring too, because
I mean, that's Benny the jeweler. He got, a lot of artists, a lot of NBA players. I've been knowing him, I think like when I got to OKC, great guy, always taking care of his, customers and treat them like family. So appreciate him doing that ring because that one is special.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna forget that moment. And now, I got this nice ring.
You got to flex it around your teammates too, man. Especially some of the players that play international, But they might show you a Raptor ring.
Pascal, he got that real ring in the NBA too, so we want to get some of that.
Pascal's got a G League one too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Somehow I don't
Boucher too.
Yeah.
Somehow I don't think the G League ring was as valuable. It was not made by Benny the jeweler, but I appreciate it.
No, I have a knockoff one at home. It wasn't as nice as that.
Yeah. Okay, Dennis, we'll call you next week, buddy.
All right, man. Appreciate you guys.
Take care. Dennis Schröder. Man, what a G. This guy just had the ring within reach.
I wondered if he might, because like once we saw that, it was like, okay, he's home now or whatever.
All offseason we joked about Smeagol and Deagle valuing the ring, but we got a Precious and we got the ring within his grasp, man. That was awesome. That was awesome from Dennis.
Yeah, that's a nice I didn't look, FIBA's got a lot of money. I did not expect the ring to be that nice.
Well, listen, I mean, I'm not familiar at all with the jewelry game. The closest I got was watching Uncut Gems, probably like 6 or 7 times. And when I saw that man in real life, Benny, like with the chains, I'm not kidding how large the chains.
No, I saw it in the vlog.
The 2 chains. It was exactly. Oh, he's in the vlog. Perfect. Yeah, you can watch it there. But it was like I was like, who is this man? Like you can immediately tell that he was different.
Uncut Gem. Do you guys think that? And sorry, Alex, I know you're not on yet, but
no, he's in whenever Uncut Gems is mentioned. Don't worry.
So like
testing.
Obviously, that movie's not that old yet, but given the like expansion of gambling stuff. Like people actually know what a parlay is now that he's going through. Do you think that movie hits more now, or like everyone's like, no, I do this like once a week?
People don't know that Uncut Gems is technically in the Raptors cinematic universe because Thad Young is in it. And now Thad Young's a member of the Toronto Raptors.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, Thad Young was obviously part of that Game 7, 2012, between the Sixers and the Boston Celtics.
When Howie died doing a parlay.
Wow. He also bet on the jump ball, which I don't think Thad was involved in that jump ball. I believe it was Spencer Hawes.
I almost died. I almost died on a bet last night, too.
Yeah, we know what we're going to talk about that after this break because Uncut Gems is going to become very
gamble responsibly.
But we're going to take this quick break. I've been your host, Willow. You've been listening to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. The vibes are so much better when they win. Welcome back to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. I'm your host, William Liu. It is the fourth quarter here on the show. So I'm joined by Blake Murphy and Alex Wong. We're going to finish strong after that Dennis interview. Big thanks to Dennis for joining us. And enjoy the aquarium.
No, loving the segments, man. With Dennis.
Got rapport, previously, like yesterday at the game.
Yeah.
We were just walking around, we saw him come on the court, we just get a little tap. Then I asked him, how's your knee?
Yeah.
Because you got the knee-on-knee collision. He said, I'm going to give it a go. And I respected the privacy because I didn't want to tweet nothing about, like...
Crazy journalism going on over there by you, man.
I just love access journalism. My goal is now to become... Actually, never mind. Actually,
yeah. Don't throw names out there because those are future guests. You're about to sewer.
Yeah, we're still trying to get a few guys, man. But did you ask Dennis to run a pick and roll with Jakob on the first play yesterday? Is the question.
Listen, I don't think Dennis will need my specific advice. I think you got to really know your place.
Chinese Darko Rajaković.
Yeah, you got to know your place where you can't really tell a coach or a player how to do the whole basketball thing. But you just got to know yourself to some degree.
But Blake, yesterday was a specific case. Like, I needed this. I don't know are you aware of the bet that I put down yesterday?
Well, I'm aware because I read the rundown.
One of you do.
So I will assume where the stake for the bet came from, where that $100 came from.
Yeah. So I don't think we're sharing too much. We got a little credit to use here for our sponsors from Bet Rivers, and
you decided to take a chance.
I decided to take a chance and put $100 down yesterday. And one of the most exciting bets out there is who's going to score the first basket of the game.
But exciting? You mean chaotic? Because it's a little chaotic.
I mean,
it's on either team.
The adrenaline rush that was flowing through me yesterday,
right?
From the booster and from the bet, like pre-game, like as Strizzy was making the intro. Was incredible.
Right.
Like it was worth the $100. Anyways, I had decided to pick Jakob Poeltl.
Yes.
As the first basket scorer.
Okay.
And you, as a basketball knower, can you break down briefly what happened in the first 30 seconds of the game?
Yeah. So I remember. So we're in the booth.
Yeah. Suns win the tip.
We're obviously really locked in because it's like first bucket by either team. So the tip really does matter in this case, right?
For the record, I would have won. I would have cashed out $900. Yeah.
Okay, the payout was going to be good.
Yeah.
But obviously a lot of variables comes in and kind of thing like that.
So first off, this is a between the lines segment.
The Suns win the tip. Yusuf Nurkic outjumps Jakob for the tip.
Yeah, I'm shook.
And you're already shook because it's like now the Suns get their first chance at it. I believe the ball went to Booker and he took a mid-range jumper. OG with great defense.
Yeah.
Contested the shot.
Thank you, OG.
Got the miss, and now it's Raptors ball. And
Pascal runs up court. It's a fast break, I believe.
It's like a semi-transition kind of fast break scenario.
Yeah.
And we're just like, look, most likely, if you were to come into this game, you probably run some pick and roll at Yusuf Nurkic. We saw that Jakob Poeltl, I think, is like leading the league still in field goal percentage. Last night, 8 of 9 from the field. You'd probably want to run that Dennis Jakob pick and roll. What did he call it? What do you call it? Wedge 5?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but just basic like 1-5 pick and roll.
Is that what I order at Alouette? Oh.
Yeah, probably. And instead, I think they gave it to Pascal. I think he missed it in the post. And you were down so bad because you're like, okay, we missed that chance. However, now the Suns got to go back. And again, no buckets been scored yet. I think the Suns missed another shot.
Well, it's worse than that because Booker tries to run on OG on that next possession and get to him. Then they reset. Nurkic throws a high-low to Booker cutting. Booker loses the handle on the ball. It looks like it's going to be a turnover. Then they manage to recover, and Okogie puts in an
Of all
offensive
people,
rebound.
man, Josh Okogie. The odds on the payoff for Josh Okogie for the first bucket must have been like $2,000.
I could have lost to Kevin Durant, Devin Booker. I would have been okay with
Even
that.
Yusuf Nurkic.
Even
Yeah.
Nurkic, you know, a little put back, whatever you do, Yusuf. But like Josh Okogie.
Of all people.
Anyways, it was fun.
It's tough.
Yeah. Anyways, it was fun.
It was a
did I
very-
pronounce his name right?
It was a very exciting 2 minutes in the booth.
It was very exciting, and shout out to Jakob for going 8 of 9. I just knew if the ball went in his hands that I was good money, but the ball just didn't find him
Yeah.
early on. So
It's tough. It's tough. Whether
Yeah.
or not we should have. Anyway, that's a different conversation. We're going to take that off air. But what else happened in the arena yesterday, Alex?
you know, we had a chance to catch up with Yuta Watanabe, who was supposed to be on the program this week. Shouts to Daniele, who was working really
Big shouts to Daniele,
hard
man.
behind the scenes to make this happen, and because of scheduling, we weren't able to.
He
so-
wants Daniele wants that chain back.
Daniele, you're not getting the chain. This is a democracy situation. So one chain to.
Democracy would mean we're betting.
Okay,
or we're voting on it.
Okay,
rather.
the other one. The not good one.
Egalitarian.
Yeah, the one where
It's a
I
little
just
further.
pick.
Authoritarian.
Anyways, we were tracking. We had our Utah sensors on, so we tracked down Utah pregame. He was walking towards the tunnel. We said what up to him, and we're able to actually just hand him a T-shirt.
He knows who you guys are at this point, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
No,
yes,
of course.
yes.
He saw us and he was like, hey, what's up, guy? And Utah's
Yeah.
very like laid back and chill, right?
He's
So
very chill.
when
We
he sees us, he's
sometimes-
like, hey, what's up?
we sometimes forget he's like one of the most popular athletes in the world, just in general.
We definitely forgot
Yeah.
about that fact because to take viewers behind the scenes, got to the arena and I'm in the 600s. I'm just sitting, chilling.
Yeah, Lou
You know,
Bomb.
at one point, I was playing Switch because, again, there's not much happening.
Okay,
3
take
hours
this
before
Lou
the game.
Bomb away.
I was playing the Nintendo Switch.
Okay.
Loser.
Loser.
And I'm in the booth and I'm talking to Jeremy and I see aka the mainlander, aka the mainlander Mamba, and
Yeah. AKA Pancake
I
Boy.
see Utah walk into the arena. He's one of the first guys to come warm up to shoot.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, conversation's over. Switch is over. We're going downstairs, and
Switch is over.
we are going downstairs for the most important part of this.
Put
trial.
away Pokemon Scarlet and Violet or whatever you
Yeah,
call
that's
it.
right, man. The DLC is gonna have to wait.
Holy crap.
We are going to go down to the arena, and then we got down there. I texted you too because I was like, you know,
Yeah.
emergency. Utah's in the building.
Yeah, it was an emergency.
And then we assembled, and we're waiting courtside. And he goes through his shoot around, does the whole thing.
Yep.
Then he goes to sit with the coaches on the assistant side,
Mm.
and he's just going through the film,
Took too long, man.
all that kind of stuff. And the whole time we're just waiting because we're posted up at the tunnel where they got to go through.
Yeah. We skipped the Darko presser.
We skipped the whole Darko presser just for this. And then Utah does come over. We chat a little bit. It was nice.
Yeah. Handed him a T-shirt, a Utah Tabuse T-shirt.
Yeah.
That's the first Japanese player to play in the NBA, and he played for the Phoenix Suns.
That's right. He was like a
Oh.
5'6" point guard.
Yeah, shouts to my guy Albert at Double Dribble. Made that shirt. We gave him the shirt, and we're like, talk about the show. How's Phoenix? I told him I went to Tokyo this summer. Met some friends of his.
He's like, oh, wow, you went to this exotic place named Tokyo that nobody's ever been to? Great story, buddy.
And then I'm walking away because the whole plan for the last couple of years is like, yo, Will, you got to get Utah's number. Like, let's just get this ramen thing done. So I'm walking away because I want Will to just take care of, like, stand on business, like, as Gary
wanted me
told
to
you
be
to.
10 toes.
But then Will looks at me. He's like, yo, come back here, man. We got to do this together.
Well, I needed emotional support. Clearly, I'm unable to close on
Chicken
James
ramen,
Harden.
the three of us.
So then we asked Utah for his number, and one of the most famous people in the world just kind of he thought about it. He like paused for like 5 seconds and went through all the scenarios of how his life could be different if he gave us his number, and somehow we leaked it out. And then he was just didn't
Which
give it to
I
us.
would never do. Utah,
He's
to be
like,
very
contact
clear.
my agent. So I'm like, yeah,
I
know.
like you.
But no.
No.
Yeah, it was.
So
it was.
we know
tough.
he's with Wasserman, and I got some connects there. So
Okay.
we're gonna make that happen through his agent.
It was yeah. So yet
We
another
failed, we
brick.
failed,
Yet
we
another
failed.
brick in this. I also told him I was like, we're still at the interview. He's like, yeah, I want to do the interview. We'll set up a time, whatever. And I told him because I was like, I want to make you help Shohei Ohtani,
Yes, help make
Pitch.
the pitch for Shohei Ohtani to come to the Jays.
right?
Yeah.
Because he's been in Toronto.
Yeah.
They're actually friends. Like they're genuinely friends.
Yeah, not like us.
Yeah, I think Shohei has Utah's number.
But
He
Utah
doesn't-
said he
I don't
wants.
think he
But
has to
Utah's like,
contact
I want him to
Wasserman.
go to Arizona. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's not going to
exactly.
Arizona though.
And
I
then
believe it's been narrowed down to what, the Dodgers. Are those real or fake?
Look, so every big reporter
Come
is
on,
like
Rogers.
is like Shohei Ohtani's camp is the most secretive camp. They're like Kawhi levels of secretive, but then everyone is also being like, but it's down to this, and this, and this is what he's valuing. So everyone is at the same time saying his camp is insanely secretive, and here's all the information.
Yeah.
I am not putting much stock in anything.
That's why I wanted Utah to pitch him.
Yeah.
He's actually friends and he's actually lived in Toronto.
The odds are greater than 0 that he will come to Toronto, and the odds are.
I'll live with that right now.
I'm not willing to go higher than they're more than 0. I don't think anyone really knows that much. I think it's just people reading the tea leaves.
What can you give this list in like basketball terms? Like, is this like if Michael Jordan hit free agency or something? Like, what's the scale here?
Yeah, I mean, like Michael Jordan's probably. I mean, LeBron at one point, but like unquestioned the best player in the league.
So this is like LeBron hitting free agency.
Right now, basketball is not a perfect comparison because there's no way to like pitch and hit. Like there's Ohtani is the only person in the league that does that.
Right.
Yeah.
What is pitching and hitting in this situation? Like playing
coaching.
Like MJ was a defensive player of the year.
Okay.
So in terms of two-way, but it's not really the same because the skill sets are so different. The other and then what cuts the other way is like in baseball, like Shohei's been the best player in the world. He had the second best player in the world on his team, and they still never even made the playoffs because in baseball you just can't have that big an impact as an individual.
It's gonna all change when he's got Alejandro Kirk as his teammate.
This is like when Babe Ruth hit free agency whenever he did. Yeah,
I mean, he didn't even hit free agency so much as they sold him. They just sold the rights
Did he
to
have
him.
agency? They sold his rights.
Oh God, where's Garrett Temple?
That was way before Kurt Flood came along and
I wasn't
changed
really
the
familiar
reserve
with your
clause era.
Anyways, another
really
Wong.
familiar with your game.
Another Wong bomb. Yusei Kikuchi was supposed to be there last night to meet Yuta Watanabe, but then things came up. So a lot of misconnections last night.
Kikuchi's off trying to pitch Shohei.
Wow, damn.
A lot of misconnections.
They went to the same high school. And like Kikuchi came over first, then went to Seattle, and then to
didn't
Toronto.
Ohtani say he like looked up to Kikuchi in a way and all
I think
this
they're
stuff?
from
Is that like
a
Kendrick
similar.
saying I used to want to be Aaron Aflalo?
Oh God.
All right.
Yeah, I think they're from like the same rural area in Japan
Same prefecture?
as well. So someone else who was at the Raptors game yesterday, who I wanted to ask you guys about.
Oh, okay.
Drake. We still haven't talked about Drake going into the locker room after the game and Darko giving him the floor and Drake not having bars ready to hype the team up.
Do we have a clip
I
here?
believe we have the clip of courtesy of Open Gym
Yeah, Aubrey Graham.
of
Aubrey Graham.
Aubrey Graham going into the Raptors locker room. So
Mr.
let's
Graham.
run that clip.
Together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Come on, big dog.
What's up, coach?
What you got for us?
Oh, what do I have?
Yeah, man, you're part of the team.
By the way, incredible win. You see, look at this. My dog has a chain on. Saw a lot of synergy, a lot of sharing the ball, a lot of great plays made. Congratulations, boys. It's a regular season win, but it's a great win nonetheless. It is what it is. We gotta celebrate. Gotta celebrate.
We had season record of 44 deflections today, and Scottie had 10 deflections. He wants to get it to win that sweet.
What a great whistle.
Together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Together.
All right, before
Wow,
we
what
ask
a clip.
before we ask the hard question, start with you, Blake. We all gotta go around here and pick our own favorite part of that clip. So, what's your favorite part of that?
Yeah, that he locked eyes with Azatam when he said synergy.
Oh, no, man.
Oh, no.
Okay, that's Blake's favorite. Will, what's your favorite part of that clip? If you had to pick one part.
It's definitely the total lack of chemistry between Drake and Darko.
Yeah.
Because last week, Drake was at the Celtics game, and he was like, I haven't been here a long time, man. I mean, that man is not Nick Nurse.
Yeah.
So he was not familiar with his own coach. But then when he came in, and Darko was like, what you got for us? And he's just like, what do I got for you? I'm Drake. What do you want from me, man? I got to do for all the dogs, and then I got to do a post-game speech for all the dogs.
And he got to drop 6 bonus tracks for scary hours.
And then Darko clearly was like, oh, he doesn't know much about this. Let me jump in with the stat about the 44 deflections. And Drake's just sitting there like, And he gives that little whistle like, I was like, wow, all right.
My favorite.
Zero chemistry, man. I'm sorry. This isn't the Nick Nurse shoulder rub.
My favorite is Drake being like, it's just a regular season win, man.
Now, do you think that's him downplaying it because playoff wins more, or he's really disappointed they didn't do anything in the in-season tournament because he wanted an excuse to go sit courtside in Vegas?
Yeah, you know what? I will roll with that theory, man. What an incredible. You think
They
Drake
could have won that Celtics game, by the way.
You think Drake rolling in there being like, yo, what up, Pat Delaney? Yeah. I just want that to happen one time on Open Gym.
I would love for him to say, what up, James Wade?
Yeah,
One
that
time.
would
what
be
up,
amazing.
Jama Mahalel. That's
How
probably
could you
the
do
closest.
that to my Chicago Sky, James Wade?
Oh,
That would be amazing, man.
yeah.
Why is Drake always great content? Is this a too obvious a question? But every time something drops, it's like immediate
No, it's
content, and it's
yeah.
always content.
no, it's just whatever he does it is kind of
Like,
newsworthy.
It's
It
kind
would
of
be so annoying if your life was like that. If you just did any mundane thing and it was newsworthy.
But
Yeah.
this is part of it. I think is like obviously any level of celebrity could at some point have that, like anything is content, like the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce,
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
Like anything is content, anything is
Yeah.
content. But what Drake's been able to do is have enough of a sense of humor about himself, sometimes being like he's in on the joke, but he's okay with it being on him sometimes. And like whatever you think of the music side of it, whatever, or even if you're tired of the Raptors relationship or whatever, because I hear that complaint sometimes.
why? Why would anyone be tired of
I don't
this?
know,
This
because
is
people
great.
need something to complain about, and if it's an off day, you can't complain about the team or the rotations. But
He's not ambassadoring the Raptors enough.
yeah.
Definitely
he's
heard
not.
that
He's
one a
not
lot.
though. But we
What
can move
gives
on.
him
yeah.
staying
Cares,
power?
man. He's Drake.
Who's he gotten us? Michael Bradley for TFC.
Yeah.
Anyways,
But
What a
what gives
chip.
him staying power for content is that he's like able to be in on the joke and like
Yeah.
like in a situation like that, not take it seriously, know that's going to make open gym. When he hits the broadcast with Matt and Jack, know that that's going to get memed a lot and stuff like that. And that's probably something that I'd imagine if you get a certain level of celebrity, that's fun for like a second. And then like you don't really want to be like, you're more the celebrity that like, hey, I want the courtside seats, but like, please don't ask me to do anything during the game. Don't put
Right.
me on the red carpet welcome, stuff like that.
yeah.
All right.
Damn. Anyways, no, shout out to Drake. I'm anti-Drake now because he got a copy of Prehistoric but never posted it.
Oh my god.
The
He
Raptors.
couldn't even do the LeBron, the like post himself like with
I
a
know.
bookmark
He's like-
on the forward.
Even
still.
J.R. Manatad did that for me.
Everyone saw to Henry and Owen and closed the book.
Yo, shouts to JR, by the
Shouts to
way.
Henry,
Another
man.
really hardworking week from you. Just want to quickly give you a quick honorable mentions. You're not getting the chain tomorrow, so you can just stay home.
Keep grinding, bro.
Yeah, keep
grinding.
grinding, bro. The Raptors, this was a video that was put up by their social team earlier this week. They asked a bunch of players how many points they would drop at an open gym run in 30 minutes. So I wanted to share some of these results with you, get your thoughts, and then I wanted us to close the show by picking the 4 Raptors you want to run with at a pickup run. Pascal said he would drop 100 points. Malachi said he would drop 80. Scottie said he would put up 70, 15, and 20.
Goodness.
Javon Freeman Liberty said 60 to 65. Garrett Temple, 60. Thad Young, 50 to 60. And he said, quote, when I retire, Lifetime Fitness is not going to want to see me. Grady Dick, 50. OG, 35. Jalen McDaniel said they'll be fouling me too much, 20 points. No comment there. Jakob Pertl said, I'm just going to pass the ball and grab some rebounds. Yeah, there's kind of the main list of guys who shared how many points they would drop at an open gym run in 30 minutes.
So when Malachi says 80, I actually believe him because when
I think we've seen it.
we've seen him at an
Pro-am
open run.
Malachi,
Yeah,
yeah.
at
Yeah.
a pro-am. He literally, like the one in Toronto that Ball Don't Stop did here like 2 years ago now.
Shouts to Ekam.
Shouts to Ekam, but it was him and Scottie in that run. And Scottie had like respectable 40 or something like that.
Yeah.
Malachi legit had like 70 plus.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I believe that.
I don't. My only real take is I don't want Jakob on my team because he says he's like he asks
Gonna
gets
pass the
asked
ball, grab some
gets asked about
rebounds.
scoring and he said I'm gonna pass the ball, grab some rebounds. Well, you guys have played with me. What am I gonna say? Yeah, I'm not scoring at all.
It's
I'm
like-
gonna play defense and set some screens.
Yeah.
I know I'm like a foot shorter than Jakob Pertl and I wouldn't do it as well. But that's my role in the offense. I don't want to touch the ball.
Yeah, should have seen that video. Should have not bet on Jakob if I saw this video.
Oh man.
Anyways, I want to hear. We know who the best players are on this team, but I want some more critical thinking as to like how you're gonna assemble your. So it's gonna be you and 4 Raptors players showing up to a pickup run.
Got you. So I have
So-
to physically play.
So
with
you're
them?
playing, and
Oh,
I
this
want
is
to.
a dream.
And I want to hear your thought process of the 4 players you would assemble around you. So should we start? We'll start with Will.
Yeah, you definitely number one, you want the best athlete period in the gym. Open runs is a lot of transition,
Okay.
a lot of sloppy play, a lot of one-on-one play. So
Yeah.
a guy who can block a shot, a guy who can
You know
run
what?
fast.
You know what? We're gonna draft this real quick. So
Yeah.
you get first pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Scottie Barnes.
Okay, you're
Yeah.
taking Scottie. I
Scottie
like
would be
that.
excellent in an open run. Plus, he do some cool dunks, which I'll get to maybe throw one
Okay.
as a lob. Yeah, this is the fantasy.
Scottie Barnes.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's
so
number one pick,
Scottie
easily.
for Will. Blake.
All right, with Scottie off the board, I'm going a different direction. Point guard's the most important position in a pickup run. You got to have someone who isn't just driving the lane, forcing shots, can actually make a pass and make a read. But for the fun factor, for the highlight reel factor, and for maybe they sleep on us a little bit, I'm taking Marquise Noel. I think he'd be an unbelievably fun, like open court, open run player.
Okay, wow.
You know, I only
I
want.
thought you were going to say Dennis because you're setting this up like it was going
No,
to be
Dennis wasn't on the list. I guess neither was Marquise Noel, but
No, we can draft whoever we want. It's all good.
Like there is an era where there aren't two-way contracts, and Marquise Noel doesn't make it to the NBA, and he's like a Rucker Park legend.
Okay, I like
I
that.
can absolutely see that for him if he came along 15 years ago.
Got you.
Yeah, I'm as a fellow MVP, I have to take Dennis. I think the two of us will bring a lot of winning to the program.
That's
so,
actually pretty good.
I'm gonna go with Dennis. What about? Okay, back to you, Will.
Well, you've let me have Pascal, so I have the best score in the group too.
Yeah, but you're just gonna. It's boring.
No, I'm trying to win. You know how serious I am about winning.
All right, Scottie
Both of you know this.
Scottie and Pascal go to Will. Blake, who you got?
That's right. I don't need to explain that.
I don't know if this is a different style of basketball. Like I remember a couple years ago, I can't remember if it's the championship team or the year after or the year before, whatever. In the Raptors runs all summer that they do, Lorenzo Brown was the unbeatable one-on-one player.
Okay,
it's a different style of
5-on-5.
basketball. It's a different style of basketball, though.
All right.
And I know we've seen Pascal in the Rico runs and stuff like that.
He dominates those.
Yeah.
time is of the essence, boys. Blake, who you got?
All right. I'm taking OG.
Damn it, man.
Obviously, he's not going to lock in defensively
You know
all that much, but like he can shoot it a little bit.
Yeah.
And hey, the Raptors aren't going to let him expand his offensive game, and I'm going to.
You're his best friend.
So, you know, clearly Dennis and I are going to carry our team, and we just need some spot-up shooters. So I'm going to take Grady Dick.
You seen those percentages?
Camped out in the corner.
All right.
I'm betting on Dick.
Unbelievable. You guys are just allowing me to build this super team.
Yeah,
here.
go ahead, brother. Who you got?
Who do I want next? In this kind of setting, I kind of really would love a guard. Give me Gary.
Okay.
Yeah, I need a dead
There's
eye
only
shooter.
one ball, man.
It doesn't matter, bro.
This is
When the ball passes
you're
to Gary,
literally
building the
drafting
Raptors. He's building the Raptors.
I'm trying to win the game. Y'all took Marquise Noel second overall.
I was trying to have fun in a pickup
Yeah,
run.
man.
And guess what?
Y'all thought this was a charity game?
Have some fun, Pikachu.
I'm taking Jalen McDaniels next.
You're taking Jalen. He's taking Jalen McDaniels.
You made the case for the best athlete wins in those situations. Yeah, I'm taking the best athlete left on the board.
You know, clearly Dennis and I again are going to carry the team. Grady hopefully can contribute a little bit. I'm going to take Garrett Temple.
Okay,
I like Garrett Temple.
Are you building a Blu-ray game? What are you doing?
I'm building a union.
You are building
I'm actually secretly unionizing right now. All right, Will, who's your last dude?
How much trouble are you having spelling Temple in this doc right now?
I'm trying to call him.
GTSR is what Will put in there for Garrett Temple.
He's the older GT on the team.
All right, who's your last pick, man?
My last pick.
You're going to say Kawhi Leonard? Yeah.
Oh, man, if he's available? Nah, you know, I believe that when he says it, man.
You're
I actually
taking
think
Thad.
Thad will take this the most seriously.
You're taking
too.
Lifetime Fitness Mamba.
Yes, I am, actually. Yeah, Thad will be my center, point center, you know, can make some passes.
All right.
Yeah, I'm chilling in this game.
Yeah.
All right,
I'm taking Bobby Webster. I need some shooting. He can pull up from the logo and is, as I understand it, very unafraid to take a lot of shots in a pickup run.
I don't want to out his business, but I know Bobby has given players buckets.
You know what? Give me Azotam, boys. I need the numbers. I need to crunch the numbers. I need to know where Grady's best spots are, where Garrett Temple's best spots are, and we're unionizing. So I am going to need some numbers.
Yeah, well, this is great. So the three teams are me, Scottie Barnes, Pascal Siakam, Gary, and Thad.
Damn, that's sick.
Blake with Marquise Noel, OG Anunoby.
Who are you guys playing in Saga?
Jalen McDaniels and Bobby Webster. And then it is Alex with Dennis, Grady Dick, GT Senior, in this case, Garrett Temple, and Hasseltap. So I'm happy we all took it as seriously as I did, but my team is crushing all your teams. But we are going to wrap here for today. I've been your host, Willow. You've been listening to The Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Make sure you find The Raptors Show wherever you listen to podcasts and subscribe, and please rate and review the show. Thanks once again to Savanna Hamilton, Dennis Schröder, producer and co-host Alex Wong, Blake Murphy, our board producer Derek Mandale, James Wilson, David Sis, Jared Manatide, helping behind the scenes. We'll be back tomorrow